You know? Instead of going to a place you feel like you're welcome, but then you're not. We gotta stick by each other and get the real problem out of here. You know what the real problem is. So, let's keep on fucking grinding!
Well, I've been kind of a big fan of live music since I was really young. My first concert, I was like 14. I saw Mitski, and she was like underground back then. When I got a little older, like 18, 19, I was starting to get into the Austin DIY scene, mostly the co-ops and like all the screamo music in Austin and San Antonio. And I just loved it. I don't know. I think it's something about like the energy. I was already into moshing. So
You're gonna have to sit on the ground now.
Hannah's the like organization aspect. I'm the production, and I'd say that a big inspiration is Nirvana Live at the Paramount. Like my favorite types of shows are the ones that kind of feel like it's Guitar Hero 3 of the first stages, the first like venues that you go to, and like where there's paper flying around and everybody's jumping up and down and everything looks kind of like, you know, all over the place. That's kind of like, you know, that's what I like. I like seeing chords on the ground.
I moved to Texas from New Jersey when I was 18, and I just wanted a space, and I was very sheltered growing up. So DIY shows, punk shows, underground stuff just called to me. I was able to be myself and found a lot of really, really cool people that just kept me there. When I met this guy, I was going every day.
I mean, it was kind of like, hey, like I really like MF Doom and hip hop type stuff, and you really like doom metal, so there were Doom records. One day I was like, what if we just make cassettes like for the scene? Because I work in a record store, and I'm like, man, I have nothing to sell of all these bands I really like. You know, so I was like, well, I can create this like all the way through. I can do the art, I can make the tape, and I can seal it up. So that was kind of the idea.
I really love local music. I think it's very fun and fresh, and you can always find something that you haven't heard before that you like. My first experience with DIY was my friend Oscar made me go to Stellar Coffee. It used to be a coffee spot on the square, and it was like 18 plus because it was like a bar at night, and I lied about being 18. I was like 16, and I was like, no, like I live in the dorms. I left my ID at my parents. I'm sorry. So if you have a copy of your birth certificate or like any picture of it, I was like, you can even show me your Facebook. And I was like, Facebook? I've lied on Facebook. So I was able to get into that. And that was actually like one of the first like DIY kind of things I ever went to. I was like 15 or 16.
Go get your pizza. It's not gonna happen.
well, to me, a DIY show can be any genre. But most commonly it kind of runs with like the punk side of the genres, at least historically in my experience. I think what separates DIY from like regular concerts is that usually in DIY we try to stray away from like proper venues or venues owned by like large chains or large businesses, because those large businesses can sometimes just charge a lot of fees, and the artists don't see any of that.
It's like a necessity thing, anti-capitalist, anti-money-making scheme sort of thing, because the lower the production value, the lower the cost of entry, and the quality stays the same because there's people who still want to prove themselves, and this is how they cut their teeth. And so with that, when you have people going to these shows and becoming tastemakers, it becomes a thing of an aesthetic and an inspiration for people. And that's kind of where I like to keep DIY as a genre of show.
I had no idea how to do it. I just DM'd people, hey, how do I do this? Look it up, I mean, it's like no gatekeeping, shout out DSFP Records, all the other local record companies. You ask a question, they're on it. They'll tell you. There's no gatekeeping. They want people to build and help the community.
You can just ask anybody and they'll know somebody. And that usually it's just a beamline path to information that can be actually tangible and work no matter the space. We do it in a spare room we got in the house. We have, 2, 3?
We have 3 machines to record.
Yeah. And we just do it 2 by 2 and just fucking pump it out and just keep going. It's really good.
So DIY is basically like the ethos of do it yourself. You just get your friends together and you're like, it's crazy because it's like, I have an idea. I've been to a show. I want to hear these bands together. We're just going to put it together.
I work with Hannah a lot. I work with True Step a lot. And with that, obviously, like Nerve Damage, Body Mechanics, and things like that.
So I think I've done 10 shows. I might be underestimating.
And my main goal is kind of logistics oversight, honestly. Like, it's more of a, like, how can we get this set up in the time frame? How can it be punctual? I think, honestly, like, my goal is to make it worth people's money.
Groups that we've specifically worked with, we do more of the promotional aspect of it rather than actually working with people. So we have worked with the East Caldwell Women's Center, fundraising for them with Sunday and Jason.
Shout out St. Moxie for this one. Benefits, man. Fucking great packed lineup. And for a cause, $5 get in. And you can just share information, share mutual aid, and give back to what we believe is right.
Yeah. This year's been about growing for sure and making different connections. Who can we collaborate? Who can we book with? Just who can I learn from? That's the biggest thing. And that's how we can benefit the community, is by learning together.
Check, 1, 2. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I don't know. A lot of people see, if you make a space for yourself and just kind of, enjoy being yourself, sometimes people don't understand it. Sometimes people will think, oh, they're being hedonistic and they don't understand what's important anymore.
Hardcore in general, but also hardcore locally, is very male-dominated and male-centered. And being femme, it's kind of weird being in those spaces because you're still seen as, just a girl.
The queer community in the underground scene is so vibrant, and I just see so much misogyny and a lot of sexism in the community at the moment, in the scene. And I just grow tired for somebody being trans myself in a cis male dominated scene. I've just been curveballed, ignored, overspoken, overlooked.
When you're a girl, you're just never, or you're a girl or presenting, you're just never hardcore enough. So I think within DIY, there are certain spaces where you will never be enough. DIY is very inherently political, and I think it's important to stick to that. We are doing this because we want to, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Such a different sort of thing where people actually care, and they actually not just in the scene, but the scene kind of creates this ethos of this is what a real friend is, and that's what's kind of come to me.
I think if people didn't care, then life would just be without intention, and it would kind of be aimless and boring. You know what I mean? It's just a space for people to care about stuff and share that with each other. But really what I think is important is
the community.
Community and supporting others and showing up for yourself.
Once I was starting my transition, so many other young queer people came up to me and they're like, if I've never met you, I would never had that confidence. I wouldn't have thought I would survive it. And I say, I love that. That warms my heart. I could die happy with that.
Giving voices to the people who don't have voices or don't know how to speak up is one thing. Just every show for me just warms my heart.
It's really cool.
There's definitely good people out there, and it's important to find those good people at DC too.
It's very DIY, but 15, 20 years, like the people coming out of here that go on to, be bigger tastemakers, you're going to see pictures of that. I know I'll look back on it whenever I'm older and think of the fun work.
But now we are, and we're just gonna make a lot of fucking noise. All right.